Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going over the all-new 2020 Lexus GX 460, and this one is the luxury package, so it is the fully loaded bad boy. So in today's video, we're basically going to do a quick walk around on the GX 460, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A big shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Lexus here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the GX. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's just get right into the video. Under the hood here of the GX 460, we have a naturally aspirated 4.6 liter V8 that goes through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 15 around town and then 19 on the highway, with power outputs being 301 horsepower and then 329 pound-feet of torque. Now we're going to go over things on the front end of the GX 460. Let's go to the hood first and foremost. So you can see those two kind of like muscular lines, and then they're flanked by like two more lines there on the side. Definitely like the look of that. It makes it look a lot sportier, a lot more muscular, like I said. These new headlights look absolutely fantastic. So if we actually go up really close to them, you can see that it's a bunch of individual little bulbs, and then you got little accent light that comes down below. If you're wondering why the light's flickering, it's because of the FPS on the camera versus the light. That's why LEDs will kind of flicker in film essentially. But yeah, I really like the look of this. It's a really nice, clean look, and it matches the Lexus logo. Kind of goes with the whole grille design, and they've got kind of like these little inserts now in the grille. They're in a kind of like metallic gray color with that, but the whole front end is just absolutely massive and menacing. And then you can see that you got a little fog light just down below right there, and then there are parking sensors on the front there, those little dots that you can see, like that one in the corner. But then here's kind of like a head-on look of the front end with all of the lights on. It is just, it's crazy. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 65mm tires on 19-inch rims in the front and in the rear. And I really like the contrast with the rims that they've done on this versus the exterior color, because it's just like a very bright white. And then with these rims, again, they're kind of like a similar color to the grille. It's kind of like a metallic gray color. There's running boards that are kind of built into the side of the body of the car as well. Mirrors are body painted. And then here is a side view on the GX 460. Here is our key fob for the GX 460. Lexus logo's on the back. Right there is the little thing you press to get the spare key on the side. And then the front of the key has a couple functions. You've got your alarm. This is actually to pop open the window, which I'll do in just a minute. You've got your unlock and then your lock. If you're wondering how to remote start this, you just have to lock it and then hold down the lock function. The lights will do a couple flashes right there. Takes a moment, and then it'll do the remote start, and you'll hear that 4.6 liter V8 come to life. You can see the little exhaust tip just out there. Now, if you want to shut it off, all you have to do is just hold down that function again. Takes a moment, and then it'll shut off. Now, holding this, you think it would open up the tailgate, but this has a unique tailgate, so this actually just opens up the window back here, so you can kind of just throw things in easily. And the reason they do that is because the tailgate itself, you have to unlock the GX 460. There's a little handle right here, and it opens up like a door instead of a regular tailgate that obviously goes up, so you can see it's hinged there to the side. So now that we're actually coming in back, I just want to show you guys the rear seats, which I will be climbing back here to show you guys legroom on these seats itself. But you can see the leather on them is actually really soft, even for these back seats. Just all of the leather on it feels really nice. This is one of the little straps obviously to help pull the seat up, but you do have electronic controls. So right here, this is for the right seat. Now I can press this and that'll fold the seat down, or I can press it to fold the seat back up. So pretty easy function with just these couple buttons here on the side. If you don't have the seats folded down, the space back here, I mean, it's only about roughly a hand length, so not a ton of space. So if you want to actually store stuff back here, you can see like they've got the cargo cover, all that kind of stuff. You're probably going to want to have the third row folded down. And then finally, there is a full little power outlet back here, so nice little feature. And then when you are done with everything in the rear, all you have to do is just shut that and you're good to go. Here's a full view of the rear. Got the Lexus logo there in the center, and then GX 460. The taillights, I actually like the design on them. I wish they were LEDs, but the design on them still makes them look actually pretty cool, especially these little things on the side, the reflectors. I think that's a cool little look right there. And then other than that though, I mean, things, they haven't changed them as much in the back. Most of the redesigning has been in the front in terms of stylistic stuff. You see a little exhaust tip just out there right on the back end, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the rear. Coming here to the back, we can see the door panel here for the rear passengers. I really like this white leather, very soft to the touch. Right here isn't as soft. You got kind of like nice wood trim on the sides right there, but the leather padding where you actually put your arm, very, very soft to the touch. One of the speakers for the sound system, just another one down below. And then here are the seats in the back. Again, more of that nice white leather, pretty comfortable. You can see it's pretty plush to press in, so they're actually nice to sit in. You got a little center control stack here for the rear passengers. So they've got heated seats back here, for example. They do have their own climate zone. Charging stations just down below. But like I said, I'm gonna at least step in here so I can kind of show you guys leg room. So here is the leg room for the back. And I can kind of put my legs right up here if I want to like squash them up. And I mean, overall, like, it's pretty decent. So like I have a good amount of headroom just above me. I'm about 5'11", so not the tallest, not the shortest either, but I mean, legroom's nice. And while I'm actually sitting back here now, I've noticed some other touches. So I like the suede here on the pillars. Very nice touch. It goes all the way up to the headline. There's a little vent up here as well. And now I got to figure out how to get back into the third row. Well, I've got to film this for the sake of the channel. So that was really easy actually. So I just pressed this and then it folded the seat and then folded it forward. So gonna put the key right there. And we are gonna kind of just kind of walk back here. Okay, oh, I don't have the headrest up. Give me a second. Okay, so now we're in the rear and I've got the seat forward, so I'm actually gonna pull the seat back to where it is. Now, the floor is kind of high, so that's the only difficulty. But in terms of like the actual space, it's a decent amount of space between the two, so you're good right there. Sorry, I made a mistake. You gotta pull that and then that's what gets it forward. My bad on that. Well, now that we've had our adventures in the back seat up front, that's the little button to actually lock it. I noticed that you do have to press it a couple times sometimes for it to happen, but then you can pick it on the back of the door handle, that'll unlock it. And then we can see the panel here in the front for the driver. Again, it looks pretty much identical to the back, so you get that same kind of wood trim right here with the white leather, black trim here with a couple of the window controls. And then you've got the memory seat functions right here, speaker for the sound system. Now the mirror controls are actually over here in this little keypad area. And then you've got a button for the camera system right next to it, the trip computer. And then this is your heated steering wheel button, some light controls, stability control, and that's for the gas cap to release it. The steering wheel is gonna be automatically adjustable. And then we're gonna take a look at the passenger seat for the front seat, so we'll go to that. So here is the front seat. The passenger and driver seat are pretty much identical. The power controls are on the side of the seat. They got kind of like the same bolstering here with the nice perforations in the middle. Really good look on these seats overall. They hold you in place actually pretty well for an SUV, but they're also really comfortable to sit in, and I just like the look of the seats. It's just a nice kind of like elegant look. Now to start up the GX 460, just put your foot on the brake, push the push start, and that 4.6 liter will come to life. It says GX in the little screen right there. Here's the steering wheel in the GX. Obviously you got the Lexus logo front and center. That hasn't changed in quite a bit of time. This is for the center stack. We'll go over that in a minute. You've got your pages and your back button for that as well. That's kind of like the collision assistance, your lane departure assistance. The cruise control is right there in that little area. And then all of your voice commands, phone controls, volume controls for the radio, all that's on the other side. No radio controls or anything or paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel. I do like the little wood at the top of the steering wheel. It's a nice touch. And the leather on the steering wheel is very kind of like soft and it just feels nice in your hands to have. And then finally, the stock for the lights is there on that side, and the stock for the windshield wipers is on the other side. Here's the center gauge cluster. So RPMs are on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed. And then, like I said, you do have that little center screen, which just has a couple different menus that you can kind of scroll through. So like steering angle, you can see that, which I think that's a pretty cool little touch. Shows you some of the safety tech, messages, all that kind of stuff. So pretty normal, pretty standard setup for most vehicles. Here's like another little thing that shows the safety tech on that. And other than that, I don't have much else to say about that little screen. Got a couple of vents here at the top. Here is the center infotainment screen. You can see all the controls flanking both sides on the screen for little button controls that you can use. So for example, it's already on the navigation. I can go to the home screen, just press that little button right there. Or I can go to the climate controls, just press that button. And notice that it is a touch screen. Response time on the touch screen is relatively okay. I would have liked it to be a little bit quicker, but it does get the job done. Now below this whole infotainment system, you got all of the climate controls that are going to be associated with that. And before we finally depart from the screen, I want to show you the camera system. So that's what happens when you put it into reverse. You get that backup camera with the trajectory lines that'll turn with the steering wheel. And you can go to like just like a full view if you like, or that bird's eye view. Now that camera button that I showed you guys earlier, which again I'll kind of remind you is right there. Now if I press that button, that will show me kind of like a front view essentially. So there's the front of the store in a bird's eye view, and I press it again and it gives me little side views right there. So that'll help off obviously if you take this off-roading. Like I said, the rest of the analog controls for the climate and for the radio are all in this little area. Now the seat controls are on both sides. They're kind of interesting. So this is for the heated and ventilated seats, and it just shows like a little seat with a fan button, which you think that's ventilated seats, but this is for both. So you can turn it over to the red or the blue section, and that'll determine if you're using the heating function or if you're using the ventilated function on it. A couple charging stations, which you can cover up with that little cover, so you just press that and then you can pull it away when you're done with it. I do like the material on it, just the design on it. I think it's a nice little design. Now here is our shifter for that 6-speed automatic transmission. Here's kind of like the whole center console area, just what that looks like. You can shift the gears yourself if you want. There's a little dual shift mode right there. We're going to get into all these controls in a minute because there's those controls and then a couple right here as well, but just hold on for a second on those. A couple cup holders right here, the center console, so you can slide it back and forth like that with that little that top tab, and then the bottom tab actually opens up the glove box where you, or not the glove box, sorry, the center console. It is lined with felt, which is to be expected in a luxury car. And then let's go over the glove box lastly. Got a key so you can lock it. Space in the glove box is actually pretty plentiful. I mean, it's a pretty large size glove box, and they got nice kind of like leather padding above it, just in that little area, and then more of that wood trim. Start with these controls. This is so you start at a second, so you just press that if you want to start at a second. That is going to be your locker right there. Now if we come over back to the center console, this is to raise and lower the GX 460. This is the suspension, so you got like the sport. I'm assuming that'd be the normal suspension is in the middle, and then comfort is just down there. And this is your descent control for obviously hill descent control, and then your drive mode select. So right now it's in 4-wheel high. You can put it into 4-wheel low if you'd like. So it's got quite a bit of tech for the off-road, obviously, since this is supposed to be kind of like the luxury 4Runner, essentially. Now up top here, got a little mirror right there, so you can see passengers in the rear of the GX 460. Regular sunroof, and again it's got a really nice soft headliner, and it matches the interior, so you've got all these white accents on the interior, and then the headliner is that same white. Just a regular sunroof, so not anything massive or anything like that, but it does let a little bit more light in if you want more airflow into the cabin. Other than that though, yep, just pretty normal up top. Now that we've gone over the entire interior on the GX 460, let's quickly talk about pricing before we take it out to see how it drives. So this GX 460, stickers for $69,000, or essentially a hair under $70,000 before you have a market adjustment. And like I said, it's the GX 460 Luxury. Now, that all being said, let's take this out to see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off, and I also want to mention the seat belts also match the interior. So Lexus has done a really good job of just making everything in the interior match. But anyways, visibility over the hood, it's actually really easy to see out of, and this person's totally staring at me because they're like, why does this kid have a GoPro on his head? Anyways, you can see visibility throughout the mirror, now the other mirror as well, and then all throughout the rear. It's actually really easy to see out of this. It has a ton of very large windows, so visibility is going to be no problem. And let's set off. Now let's set off here in the GX 460. The first thing that I want to mention is, the first thing that I'm noticing is the ride quality on this. It is very, very smooth. I mean, in terms of vehicles that I've reviewed so far, I mean, on an SUV standpoint, this is one of the smoothest, if not the smoothest. I mean, this is just so comfortable. And I remember driving the LX 570 last year, and I mean, this is really close. I mean, it's super smooth. From a road noise standpoint, you hear a little bit of wind noise, but the cabin's actually really well insulated in general. And let's obviously make sure no one's coming, but as I am turning here, the steering is very light. In terms of directness on the steering, there is a little bit of on-center vagueness, which again is kind of expected with most SUVs. But other than that, the steering rack is very, very light. The steering wheel is kind of a little bit on the, I guess, medium-sized. The grips on it are pretty small, and so it's just like a comfortable steering wheel. And yeah, I mean, that's it. It's super smooth, very quiet, and it's really easy to steer. We're gonna get a little acceleration here with the GX 460, and I put the suspension in the sports setting, by the way, so I can see if there's like a ride quality difference. But in terms of acceleration, I mean, no, it's not fast by any means, but this V8 does better than I thought it would. I read the power figures and I was a little bit skeptical reading them, but actually driving this, I don't really feel the need for more power. I can't really explain it. Like, this SUV is just, it's so comfortable to drive that I'm not like, this doesn't put me into a state where I'm like, I need more power. It's just like, I just kind of want to go along, and the engine's perfect for that. Now, let's sum things up here on the GX 460. Yes, this is supposed to be an off-road SUV. However, I imagine most of the people buying this will probably never take it off-road, sadly. And I mean, all those beautiful kind of like metallic gray trim pieces all around the bottom of this would just get absolutely destroyed if you took it off-road. So definitely get a, you know, clear bra or PPF if you ever get one of these and take it off-road. But yes, everyone knows this is immensely capable off-road, but I mean, as like an on-road SUV, pretty much feels like you're driving, you know, a tank almost. It just has that like nice, significant, large feel. You get a nice view of the road, kind of like a king of the road feel in it as well. And I mean, it's just so comfortable. Like, Lexus is really good at making luxury cars, so if you want a obviously very reliable, comfortable luxury SUV, then the GX 460 Luxury, I mean, it's in the name, guys. Definitely take a look at it. So that is gonna sum things up for today's video on the GX 460 Luxury. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Lexus here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the GX 460. Check out their inventory in the link below. If you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, and then I will see all of you in that next video.